TMI. Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerfherder Chandler and Jim Kaiju Baker.
I'm not watching a movie at 9 o'clock at night because inevitably I fall asleep and then it's worthless. Although I will tell you, and we're going to get into it. Hey, welcome everybody. Oh, greetings. We come in peace. Yes, we are.
We come in pieces. Rock pieces. I didn't see how this little guy was held together. Does he have veins? Does he have tendons? What is holding those arms to his body?
I think you're already overthinking Rocky. He's a rock. So Grace calls him Rocky because he's made out of rocks. So what if Rocky just turned around and said, "Well, I'm going to call you Fleshy"?
I'm going to call you Humany.
Humany. Yeah, thanks, dude. Nailed it. Yes. We will be talking Project Hail Mary if you haven't seen the graphics or looked at the title of this episode.
So, yeah, the character of Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, he does a lot of human-splaining to Rocky.
Well, you have to. Yeah.
And I don't think Rocky particularly needs it. If you see his ship compared to the human ship.
That ship was gorgeous.
Welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome indeed.
We are going to the outer realms today.
I don't know. Has there ever been a movie? Whatever happened? So they put this guy in suspended animation. They send him out. All right, it's going to take you and your crew X amount of months, maybe even years to get to this location. What if in between we send him out and he's sleeping and then we somehow create hyperdrive and he gets there and we've already solved it.
And somebody's already there waiting for him? Plus the fact that he didn't even know where he was. He's like, "Who are you?"
That was very disorienting. That was just, that was wild. It's like, why would they do that? Why would you? I don't know. I guess we'll get there. We'll discuss it. I am happy that you just watched this.
Did you watch it again?
No, I did not.
You did not. Okay.
We will get into it a little bit because there was an option. Regal is now offering an in-theater commentary. There's an app called Theater Ears that you can download. And you can listen to Phil Lord and Chris Miller's commentary. It's called the Director's Experience. And I'm like, I am so in on that. I would
Wait a second. So as the movie's in theaters, you have the option to watch a commentary or listen to a commentary.
You can actually download the app, which already you're pulling out your phone, which drives me nuts that this is an option. But you can sync it with the movie. And obviously you're going to have to listen in earbuds. And
you know that everybody is not going to choose that option.
I said, I don't have 3 hours to spend in the movie theater. I would have loved to have re-seen this and to watch this version. I just didn't get to it.
But
and it looked
I can only assume that when the thing comes out on home video release, meaning DVD, Blu-ray, that's going to be the commentary.
So I don't know. There's a lot of fun behind the scenes making of already floating around because this movie's been out for quite a while now. And we had talked about covering it and then it went away. And now all of a sudden, I mean, it's going to lean right into our news items. But this movie is really kind of trending back toward the old school blockbuster, which is word of mouth. And it's still in theater.
And it's a huge feel good mass market kind of a thing that appeals to both diehard moviegoers, I think, and the casual moviegoer. And if we haven't announced it, we are talking Project Hail Mary. And as its backup feature, we are covering a long-lost sci-fi movie from the 80s with a real pedigree in its cast, Explorers.
Debut movie for Ethan Hawke and for
River Phoenix.
Phoenix.
And then the third kid who...
and went on to do nothing. I'm going to have to look up in my notes what his name was, which is sad because I think out of the three, he was the best actor.
I think you're right because he had the most meaty part of the three of them.
He had some gravitas to him. The other two are bordering on cartoon, but we'll get there. But you're right though. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. All I remember is the end where they encounter the aliens. I don't remember any of it. And I'm like, I probably saw this once in my life. And it came out in 1985, which was a pretty big year.
There's an interesting story behind Explorers, but we'll get there on the back end.
You're going to have to sit through the rest of us talking about this other movie first before we get there. Or you could just jump ahead.
But before we get there, we've got news you mentioned.
We do have news. And we're going to be very space oriented this week because if anybody's turned on the TV in the last 10 days, we went back to the moon. Kind of. Artemis 2, first man-made, man-manned mission.
Woman-manned.
Yeah, first. They've gone farther into space than any human being. And that includes Apollo 13, and that's only because they had a slingshot around the moon. So this Artemis 2, boom, we're going back to the moon. This is our first step. We got April 1st, they launched, and then the 10th, they splashed down. And I will say I was riveted to the launch, and I don't know about you, because, I mean, we're pretty much the same age. It was very triggering. Only because of the Challenger issue that we, as kids, experienced.
Any launch that I've watched since then, you cannot help but think of that day in 1986, I believe it was.
1986, February 1986. So I was already in college, and I do remember coming back from class, and we had a little, I don't know, 12-inch black and white TV in my room, and we were glued to it. But, there's kids probably younger than us who sat in a classroom watching this live on the school science teacher would roll in the damn television. Hey, we're going to watch this live launch. And these kids are sitting there watching this thing, and boom, that's got to be traumatizing.
Yeah.
But it was very triggering. So that I'm glad I hate to say it that I'm glad I'm not alone, but yeah, it really did kind of like, push up those memories and those feelings. But my wife kept asking me as we're watching this, and I'm glued. I'm like a space nerd. I love this stuff. And C-SPAN was doing live feeds, and it just was like, well, why are we doing this again? Why are we going? What? And I'm like, finally, I just told her that it was the only way that we could communicate with the aliens is from the backside of the moon. And I don't think she believed me. But I don't know if you heard this, and I find this absolutely fascinating, is that apparently they had special payload. And I haven't heard anything about this. Maybe it was on one of the news programs. But according to this article I found, there was a 1-inch square piece of canvas from the Wright brothers plane provided by the Smithsonian. There was a piece of the Challenger, a piece of the Columbia, and so they basically said, tonight, the Wright brothers have flown higher than ever dreamed possible. Tonight, the Challenger made it safely into space. Tonight, Columbia finally came home.
Wow.
And I'm like, I got goosebumps. I'm like, again, I'm sitting maybe 40 minutes away from the Intrepid Air and Space Museum down here in New York City. And the space shuttle, the Enterprise, sits there. Now, the Enterprise never made it into space. It was the one that sat on the back of the Boeing 747.
Yes. That's such a memorable visual.
And I've never been there. I've never seen it. I've been on a cruise ship sitting right next to it, but it's all covered. It's in its own domicile. It's all covered up. You can't see it. But yeah, I thought that was fantastic. And it looks like they're pivoting now. We will not be making a space station. We will be making a moon base. We shall see.
I hope they call it Moonbase Alpha.
Moonbase Alpha. I never watched Space 1999. It was too dry for me.
But the moon, I always think of this when I look at the surface of the moon, photos, obviously, because I haven't been there myself. But
oh, no, you didn't go there on your last vacation?
No, I didn't. But it's pockmarked.
Sure, it's getting pummeled. So how could we stop that? Because there's no atmosphere for these little rocks to burn up. Oh, I see what you're saying. If we we have to do a dome of some sort.
Yeah, because we have to protect ourselves.
They witnessed like 9 hitting on the backside of the moon. So if anybody doesn't realize, we never see the backside of the moon. The moon does not rotate. It orbits around the Earth, but we always see the exact same side. So this is the first time that we're actually capturing images on video, high def 4K of the backside of the moon. I think only the Apollo 13 guys were allowed to see it, and maybe they didn't even see it because they were too busy trying to save their asses.
Yeah.
They didn't have time to look out the window.
Although to the layman, it's like going on the Jungle Cruise and like, ladies and gentlemen, the backside of water. Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, imagine if we got on back there and we discovered something we had never known was there before.
Yeah. Some little green man waving at us as we're flying overhead.
No, it's probably a Starbucks. I also was very happy they took numerous shots of the actual lunar landers from Apollo 11. To all you naysayers that say that we never landed on the moon, flat earthers were out there going, "Oh, NASA's using fisheye lens to make that the Earth looks round." Wow, you guys are. Then how come the window doesn't look distorted? You can't fix stupid, my friend. So that's cool, and that tied into our space theme. I also want to bring up a local news a little closer to your home. I saw that the Hyde Park Drive-In is officially reopening.
I did see that. That is so encouraging because for the longest time, Walmart was interested in buying up that property in Hyde Park.
So here's the thing I didn't realize. So anyway, if anybody doesn't know, we're lower New York area. I'm in the Hudson Valley. Yeah, I guess you're considered Hudson Valley as well. You're just a little bit further north than I. This drive-in sits on FDR's historic. It's like part of the national park. The National Park Services.
Right behind literally right behind the screen is a series of walking trails.
Yeah, so this thing's 76 years old and it closed back in 23. And it looks like the National Park Service has officially found a new operator. So they're going to be back up and running this year.
That is great. That is
exciting because that's probably my closest drive-in. And that's not close.
Oh, yeah.
That's
still not close to you. No. It's only about a 15-minute drive for me.
No, I go back home upstate and I see the decay of the drive-in I grew up in just sit there. And it's every time I go there, it's falling apart. It's more in disarray. It's horrible. It's only a matter of time before someone buys it and just levels it.
Yeah.
So many memories. But coming off that, so that was exciting for the movie industry for me. But now we have what I would consider real life Avengers have stepped up and are looking to save the theater. We have this thing called Cinema United, which is a coalition of filmmakers united to champion the future of cinema worldwide. And they just announced their council, which includes Jerry Bruckheimer, Emma Thomas, Ryan Coogler, Brad Bird, and Jason Reitman, among others. And their mission is to provide vital feedback and recommendations on the most pressing issues facing theatrical exhibition today. We're doing our best to save the theaters and the theater going experience, which I think is fantastic. And this was a news item that I skipped over, but Universal just announced recently that they're extending their theatrical windows up to 45 days. So that's very encouraging. And then, this movie we're going to talk about right now is pushing the idea that people are going back to the theater for the first time in a very long time.
Yes, because as we said,
serious buzz.
It's getting serious buzz and it deserves it. And I think Ryan Gosling, somebody asked him, and I'm paraphrasing here, somebody asked him, well, what can we do to help theaters thrive? And then his answer was, well, we have to make movies that people want to see. And that's really what it breaks down to. And people want to see this movie. So are we just going to see a glut
of movies like this now? Because this really is just a buddy comedy.
But he's right. People aren't going to go see your Oscar bait. That's never been mass market kind of an experience. And that's what the theater needs. They need an influx of cash.
Well, listen, every just like the theater district in Manhattan on Broadway, you can have your Les Mis, but at the same time, you also need Bigfoot the musical. Yeah, it can't all be high art. It's just got to be entertaining. And you got to you want to go and see. I would have loved to have seen this in IMAX. You did, correct?
No, I didn't. I went to Danbury. I had plans to go to Danbury to see this in IMAX, but because it was so pushed out, meaning that we're talking about it now about 3.5 weeks after it opened, it's no longer playing in the IMAX.
Mario pushed it out.
Mario pushed it out. So
interesting. Mario.
Yeah.
Mario and Rocky. I'd like to see those two go at it.
But watched it at the AMC at Danbury. It was a very early morning screening. It was 10:45 a.m. I still didn't get out until 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
No, I know. That's why part of me was just like, it's a 4-hour commitment. So let's do it. Let's get into it. Project Hail Mary.
Yes. The most successful movie to date from Amazon/MGM.
Oh, okay. Was it a joint venture?
It was a joint venture because if you remember right at the beginning, you see the Amazon, not the logo, but it's, an Amazon
Pictures.
Original is what it's called.
Gotcha.
I do want to say that I didn't want to initially cover this because I was a bit perturbed
by the trailer.
Because it looked like not the first trailer. The first trailer I was completely down with, which
I know. Once they start giving you too much.
We call it in the biz the teaser. And every trailer should be the teaser.
Agreed.
But then they came out.
Should have control of your trailers.
Yeah. Then they came out with a second, much more detailed trailer where they gave away what the alien looked like.
Yeah.
And what appeared to be, to me, the ending, which wasn't.
Correct.
In fact, the ending.
Yes.
But still, it gave enough of the plot away where I knew completely what was going on. I knew what to expect when he was first encountering the alien, which I think was meant to be a big suspenseful reveal, which was not, because I already knew what it looked like and that it was friendly. Okay, I do know this stuff, but still, it was an extremely enjoyable viewing experience. Yeah, I have to say.
But I think Spielberg's, he's gone on record as well, which is, there's a fine line between teasing somebody and telling them you have to explain what the movie is. And unfortunately, this is a pretty well-known book written by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, which parallels this a lot as far as structure, in the sense that he's a lone survivor who has to science the hell out of figuring out his end.
And the book is only, 5 years old? Came out in 2021?
Yeah. Well, I think based on the success of The Martian, that because he's got a third book now, which is called the Artemis, by the way, and it's already been opted. So Andy Weir, man, he's top of the heap right now, scrambling. He's like the Michael Crichton of our day.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk a bit about the directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who I think really took this. If anybody is not familiar with their names, they are attached with the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse animated series.
Although not directors of that, correct?
No, they are producers, but they did direct the Lego movie.
Which is,
Genius.
that alone is enough on their resume.
Yeah. They were fired by Lucasfilm 5 months into filming Solo because of creative differences. And this makes me so mad. I hate this stuff. You hired these guys. We've talked about this ad nauseum, and I'm sorry.
Well, Edgar Wright and Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, Edgar Wright. Yeah, you hire these guys because they have a specific vision and voice, and they have a language all their own when it comes. That's like hiring Christopher Nolan, and they'd be like, "It's not what I was looking for."
You have to assume that that's why they're being hired. They want that voice.
You don't hire an artist to paint a picture to look like a Picasso and then be like, "Oh, I was hoping more of a Rembrandt." It's like, that's not what you. Yeah. So yeah, they were famously fired, replaced by Ron Howard.
So they have Lego movie on their resume. They've got Spider-Verse movies on their resume. They also have the 21 Jump Street series on their resume.
It has its own fan base.
Yes.
Their comedies. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yes. A very well received animated.
Yeah. Again, another adaptation based on a book. And this is heavy. There's a lot of exposition in this.
Well, he does a lot of science in this, so you got to have it.
Agreed. So there's a reason it's almost 3 hours, and I guess there is a 6-hour cut.
Even with this, even though I enjoyed it, it did feel long. I was like, it gave like 2 climaxes.
Felt like I was watching Return of the King.
Yeah.
It was like we've got 3 endings.
Are we starting the movie again when it got to that point?
Yeah, but apparently that is true to the book. So sometimes you wonder, how close do you hew to the source material or veer off? And I think because the book was popular, that people who like the book, I have been told numerous times, listen to the audio. And so I tried to get it from my library. I'm like, oh, I'll listen to the audio and not go see it in the theater again. And maybe I'll have a different view on it. Yeah, there was 40 copies and there was 40 people ahead of me.
So as you said, it's been conceded, okay, you've got to tell people what the movie's about in the trailer. I think to its credit, the teaser trailer does that, but
yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the teaser trailer, you just see the little robot. You do like he runs into an alien. You think it's like a straight up Martians type
but even with the teaser, you're told up to that point exactly what's going on in the movie.
Yes, yeah.
Son is dying. He's got to go fix it.
Yep. Boom.
And lo and behold, there's something else there already there.
Yeah. Is it friend? Is it foe? Is it killing the son? What's going on? I will say, so we mentioned Ryan Gosling, who is coming off Oscar nominated role in Barbie. And he will be showing up next in Star Wars Starfighter.
I would be shocked if he's not nominated for this.
I think Rocky needs to be nominated for this. And I will talk ad nauseum about The Puppeteer because these two carry this entire movie. If you don't like Ryan Gosling, you're not going to like this movie. But I'm trying to think like outside of even Brad Pitt, we saw what the hell is that?
Ad Astra.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Ad Astra. Yeah, and he carried that whole movie by himself, and you're like, oh, it's Brad Pitt in space. They do a bang-up job. You can't help it not like this character.
The brilliant storytelling device that they use, and apparently the book does as well, is that you wake up in the ship with Ryan Gosling's character, Grace, and he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah, you learn alongside him.
Yeah, so he's remembering snatches of memories, and like this will trigger a memory, and so you're seeing these memories as flashbacks. So it's slowly piecing together just like it is for the character.
Yeah, although the one thing I'll say about this movie is you don't really have a sense of time. You don't have a sense of how long he was out there. I think they did tell you that he'll never be able to go back home.
They did say at the end that it was going to take him 4 years to get back home.
That's what I'm saying. What happens if all of a sudden, all right, he's up there. I guess we can just sit back and wait for him to fix it. No, they're probably still working on it, and they figured out a way to get there sooner than he does. He shows up, and they're like, yeah, we got it, dude. But I just lost 12 years of my life.
So he wakes up, he doesn't remember, and in a very Planet of the Apes turn, his crew has died as well. Now, did we ever find out why we did find out why the alien crew died, but I don't know if we found out why the human crew died.
That's a good question. I don't remember them explaining that or resolving it, other than the fact that maybe there was a leak in their
as you said, there's like a 4-hour, 6-hour uncut version. Maybe they explain it there.
Everything that we're going to nitpick about this movie, I'm sure gets explained in the book. Bear with us. Oh, did we throw a spoiler up there? Because we're going to spoil this.
We are going to spoil this. Yeah, there's no way to talk about it without spoiling.
There is no way to talk about it. Otherwise, we just walk away now.
And we also learn that if he wants to send just a simple radio message to Earth, it's going to take 11 months to get back to Earth. So he's out there. He's quite far out there. Yeah. So the basic gist of this is that our sun and every discernible sun, I guess, that we can see on our telescopes are dimming, are dying because of what they call space dots. Astrophage.
I think God has just put the dimmer switch down.
So there's always in every galaxy, including ours, I think it's Venus, right? Where where there's these astrophages. Astrophages. The space dots, for lack of a better term, are going in a straight line between Venus and the sun. It's like a two-way road. It's just like a continuous back and forth between Venus and the sun. They call it the Petrova line because that's the name of the person that discovered it. Yeah. And these little things are blotting out the sun, reproducing, and then going back to Venus and then coming back. So nobody knows how to stop it.
Space salmon.
Yes.
Little tiny black blobbies.
So, and they figured within 30 years, the sun will be completely covered and means death to all life on Earth.
Is that good?
No. And not only is it happening to our sun, but to, again, all suns that they can detect out there.
Which is wild.
Except for one, which is still burning brightly out in the deep reaches of space.
So they're like, all right, we got to go figure out what's going on with that sun, which is pretty wild. Where was he going? Tau Ceti, I think, is the, I would assume, again, that the science does science.
Yeah. that's, somewhere this all makes sense, but that's beyond you or me.
But they explain it enough to the layman that you're like, all right, I'm buying into this.
Yeah, because he's got to explain it to a class of kids, so that's kind of like him explaining it to
yes, and then he gets mansplained by the government. And at one point he goes, "What government are you with?" And you're like, "All of them." He's like a math teacher, science teacher. He's like a middle school science teacher.
Yeah, but he's been rebuked. He's been humiliated because he wrote like a thesis, and just like any other like crazy, usually this is the bad guy character who's written a thesis that everybody thinks he's crazy for. But because of this, the government are coming to ask for his help to help save his son.
Yeah, they're kind of running out of, we gotta do something here. Yeah. We got time to mess around.
So we're going to jump around here because I don't want to use the same tact that they use with the flashbacks, but you do find out
because they
eventually.
Are meted out. Yeah.
You do find out eventually that there is a crew to this spaceship that is going to go, and he was not meant to go with them initially. Ryan Gosling was always going to stay on Earth.
He's a guy. He's like your Q. He's the guy in the lab that's just going to science this.
But unfortunately, the science officer passes away at one point in an explosion down on the ground, and they've got nobody else that's qualified to go up there. And he wants nothing to do with it.
Of course not.
And that's what you see in the trailer, right? They're trying to talk him into it, and he's like, "Nope, no way, I'm not going up there." I put the not in astronaut.
Such a great line.
Yeah,
such a great line. Yeah, so he's like this reluctant guy who's like, "Listen, you asked me to come in here and figure this out." And he's got those neat little science labs where he figures out that these things are moving around and that they're attracted by the lights. And he's like, "All right, here you go. Here's my answer." And they're like, now you need to go. And they're like, "I don't want to go."
What's great is in the trailer that this is all played for laughs. It's a big ha-ha moment. But in the movie, it's serious. Brutal. They're chasing him down and they knock him out.
Yeah, this is horrible. They force him to go. They freaking kidnap him.
Yeah, he runs out of the office with them in chase until they knock him down. Yeah. And it's like Mr. T in the A-Team. They've got to get him on a plane.
I ain't getting on no plane.
I ain't getting on no spaceship.
But you're right, because the way that this is, he wakes up, we're right there with him when he wakes up out of the hyperspace, doesn't know where he is, who he is, why he's there, realizes pretty quickly. So if he's a science guy, how does he know how to run this ship? Like, that's never really explained. He just jumps in the chair and starts flipping switches and stuff.
Yeah, because at first he says, whoa, because he jumps in the chair and the ship recognizes somebody's there. Pilot detect. Oh, wait, I'm not a pilot. A little bit later, it seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe in the 6-hour cut, he read the
cut. We got to watch a 6-hour cut.
He actually read the user manual in real time in the 6-hour cut.
How big is that damn user manual? That's multi-binders right there. He's got time.
So he's got to travel to 4 years to get to this star that's not dimming by the space dots. And he sees immediately that he's not alone.
And this is fantastic. Because he's got this ship, and it's a pretty impressive looking ship, a science ship. And then this other alien ship just kind of like this is like when Thanos shows up at the end of the Thor.
Yeah.
This giant ship that just engulfs, and these outer space shots are so gorgeous, and this is why you want to see this in IMAX, because it just fills the screen, and you're just like, you're in awe, and it's amazing. And there's multiple shots at this where there's scenes later where he's outside the ship, and it's awe-inspiring. It really is. It borders on 2001 level imagery that I don't think we've seen much of.
The ship looks like it's made of like tinder sticks,
it's
glued
wild.
Together.
It is such a neat. And then when you figure out later this guy's a rock, it's like, I think you'd be breaking this stuff walking around.
But he looks kind of like a spider rock, a cross between a spider and a rock.
Spider rock.
Not only is this ship so massive, but it can create a space tunnel between the two ships. So Ryan Gosling can, in fact, walk through the space tunnel and speak to Rocky, which he names because it's a little spider rock alien. Now, unfortunately, Rocky's crew also has completely died. And he said he had 23 crew members.
Yeah, there was a ton
on
of
his
them
ship.
on there. Yeah.
And Gosling figures out that the reason that happened is because Rocky was sleeping next to the astrophage, the space
That
dots.
somehow saved,
protected him from the radiation of the sun that they were by, or something to that effect.
Yeah, there was a scientific explanation for it.
But so they were both by themselves in these cavernous ships. And
but these scenes where they're trying to communicate with each other, because obviously, Rocky's not showing up speaking English, and he's more like an echo sound, like a whale or a bat, where he doesn't really see. You see his point of view a couple times because he doesn't have eyes, right? That I was aware of.
You do see his point of view a few times, so
right, yeah, which is look like an echolocation where you're just seeing the outline of Grace and some of the stuff around him. But yeah, the communication, the scene where they're trying to communicate with each other is pretty fun.
Grace ends up inputting into the computer sounds that Rocky is making that he can then translate into a word. So after an amount of time, they can basically communicate.
Yeah, now they're like buds.
It occurs to me that Grace is doing all the sciencing. I'm like, they're so far advanced from us. It's right. Grace that figures out how to save the world.
Rocky's not really contributing much, to be honest.
No, he's not.
He's like E.T. down on the planet just collecting plants. He's like, I don't know. I was a science guy, and they dragged me along.
Yeah, if I saw this big ship coming, I'm like, whoa, they've got the answer, definitely.
Yeah, they got it all figured out, because they did figure it out. That's why they were there, too. So they basically have the same mission. So he's from the planet Arid?
Yeah, he's called an Iridian.
An Iridian.
So yeah, I would assume Arid is the name of his planet.
Yeah. This is where subtitles would have been nice.
Yeah. So they're there again to study this star that's not being completely consumed. So it takes a while and a lot of sciencing for them to come to the conclusion that the planet because in our solar system, it's Venus that the sun and that these things are moving in between, the sun and Venus. In this solar system, the planet has bacteria that live in the atmosphere that are acting as a predator and eating these things, the space dots.
So these are like the grizzly bears that eating the salmon when they try to swim back upstream.
So this is unique to this planet. And so that's why this is the only star that anybody can see that's not being consumed by these things, because this bacteria is unique to this planet. So the thought is, if they collect this bacteria and both bring it back home, and I guess they would then need to infect Venus and whatever planet Rocky is dealing with.
Somewhere in between, right. So each one of them would take samples, go back to their home, and then somehow infect the flow of these astrophages.
But again, it's all Grace who's figuring this stuff out, and Rocky's just like watching them.
Yeah, listen, probably in the Iridian version, Rocky's the hero.
Yeah,
Rocky's running around because now all of a sudden he's got like a little hamster ball.
They probably knew the whole time that there was going to be a human up there. I'll let the human figure it out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I saw one of his movies. He's good. He's good. He'll figure it out. He read the script. I read the book. I know how it ends.
On the way there, them figuring this out, there is like a very harrowing spacewalk where they actually have to go fishing, they call it, and pick up the bacteria. So because Rocky he can only walk in this like boy in the plastic bubble thing.
Yeah, because he can't be exposed to oxygen. I think that they figure out whatever it is that because the same thing with Grace, when he goes inside Rocky's ship, he has to stay in his spacesuit.
Would that mean that Rocky, if he can't be in oxygen, couldn't he spacewalk without a suit?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't. He lets Grace do that too.
Yeah, sure. All right, dude, you go do that. Meanwhile, you got 5 arms, bro. You could grab a lot of that Talmebas.
He actually has to go fishing. There's like this big ball on a chain. He's got a spacewalk.
Yeah, which is weird. It's like, who thought that through, that existed? They're like, well, we better put this in there just in case they got to go and bring some samples back. Okay. All right.
And during the course of the movie, the gravity control center of Grace's ship goes haywire, knocks him out, And then Rocky's got to save his life. So that's, a big tear-inducing scene.
Yeah, because Rocky's like burnt.
And then because he's got to get out of his plastic bubble to save Grace, and he's burning as he's trying to save Grace. And then fast forward, Grace wakes up and he sees Rocky's almost dead body.
Yeah,
so he's got
like a charred husk.
Yeah, and he can't do anything. So he's just kind of watching over him, waiting for him to wake up, which he does. Yeah. So you get through all that emotional heft. Grace almost died. Rocky almost died. They saved each other. Now they're even. Now the movie's over.
Yeah, here's your samples. Here's my samples. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Bacteria's gotten out and is trying to eat all the samples of the space, whatever that they've got. They've got to stop that from happening.
It just never ends.
The other aspect of this plot that we haven't really talked about is that this is a one-way trip for Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Because he uses the space dots as fuel to get to that point in space where he is, but he doesn't have enough to get back. So he keeps this from Rocky because Rocky is very codependent on Grace.
Yeah, they've formed quite the bond.
Yes.
One thing we didn't talk about is like Rocky's personality, because he's like a 4-year-old. He's sitting there there's everyone's saying it now, fist my bump. Yeah. He did turn of a phrase and screws it up. Amaze.
So he's like Crocodile Dundee. He's a fish out of water.
Nice big eye. Yeah. No, it's you get attached to both these characters, and again, except for the flashbacks, they're the only two on screen.
Yeah,
for a very long time, and they do hold. He's a movie star, my friend. He is amazing.
But they open up to each other. He finds out Rocky has a mate back home on his planet.
How that works, I have no idea. I'm not asking.
Well, they've got kids. You see at the end, they've got little rock kids at the planet.
Yeah, this is so again, when we first started talking about this, and you're like, oh, well, there's a scene where they're overlooking the Empire State Building, and clearly they saved the Earth, and they gave away the ending. And when I saw the movie, I'm like, well, that's not the case whatsoever. But this ending, I did not see coming in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And all of the ideas that came through my head, like how this was going to be resolved, this was not what I expected. But I guess for the character, it makes sense. He really had nothing to go back to.
No, he didn't.
And he wasn't going to go back. He's going to just die in space. His crew all died. He's got nothing.
But he was going back. So this was the Return of the King ending. He was on his way back home because Rocky had rationed out his fuel to give to him. He said, well, it's just going to take me 6 more years to get home, that means. But you can get home. You don't have to die in space.
How does he know how far he had to go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Ryan Gosling's on his way. Then he realizes, through sciencing that, that this... Yeah. I even forget what was going to happen.
He's like beautiful mind now.
Yeah, but he's got to go back because there's something wrong with the astrophage, and he's got to go back and help.
It's going to eat his ship, or it's going to kill him anyways. And he's like, well, then he'll never get home, and then his planet's going to die.
Yeah,
I got nothing to live for, because you do see that he ends up in this decision, puts the samples in these 4 little pods, these missiles or whatever, and sends them back to Earth. And I thought you would appreciate the fact that they named him after the 4 Beatles.
Yes, although it would take 4 years for these things to get back to Earth.
Well, right. So he had X amount of time. So back on Earth, they have to still be trying to crunch the numbers and figure out, well, if this guy fails, we still have to do something else. So even if he succeeds, it's going to be a 10, 12-year window before we even know. And it's almost like an afterthought at the end of the movie where they explain that the Iridians are like, oh, yeah, by the way, it looks like you saved Earth. Oh, okay. That's good.
But it seems like it would be a much harder thing to infect Venus with this bacteria than what they're making it out to be.
Well, that's the thing. We never see that end result. It's literally like told to us as an afterthought. Oh, by the way, you did, in fact, save your race.
And this Eva, who is like the robotic lady that all business lady that she is the boss that you see in all the trailers who recruits Grace's character. So you see her at the very end in the coda looking at the footage from Grace's probes that he sends back.
It kind of mirrors the Martian in the sense that he's every time he's constantly leaving these diaries and these video logs that he's now sending back to them, giving them updates on what he's doing.
So he's documented his entire relationship with Rocky, and she seems nonplussed
that he ran into an alien.
There's an alien. Like she's like, these crazy guys. That's her reaction. Like, oh, you scamps. Well,
she was a weirdo anyway.
Mischievous scamps out there in space.
There's the one scene right before they leave where they're singing karaoke, and that was about as human as she gets. She lets her guard down for like a split second, sings a song, and everyone's like, oh, I guess she's got personality. And then she just shuts it down.
Imagine if in the 6-hour cut, the humans and Iridians are in cahoots. And like she knew about the Iridians, but Ryan Gosling didn't.
Well, I mean, they did him dirty to begin with by hijacking him and throwing him on this stupid thing. And then you feel even worse for him. Maybe you don't need to be saved, jerks.
So now Ryan Gosling at the end, he burns up all the extra fuel that Rocky gave him to go back and save Rocky. And then we see that Rocky has brought Ryan Gosling back to his planet rather than let him just die in space. Now they've given him like a biodome to live in.
Yeah, so this is the technology. So there's this room in the ship that he goes to numerous times, which looks like
in the human ship.
In the human ship that just has like a 360-degree screen. That's the scene we talked about where they're overlooking the Empire State Building. It's kind of like his safe room, right? Where he doesn't lose his mind. He doesn't forget what he's trying to save. I will say this, and we haven't talked about this at all. This soundtrack is amazing.
Of course, yes. Well, when they're sending off the probes that are named after the Beatles, they're playing a Beatles song. The two of us,
But it's just I think it all works so well together. And the one thing we haven't even talked about is, so this Rocky is a physical puppet. There's 5 people that they actually refer to as Rocketeers. But the main puppeteer, his name is James Ortiz. And he would work with Ryan Gosling for like hours, and they would just riff with each other. They created, I guess, immediately had some kind of a bond, but he was never intended to be the voice. He was just the guy moving this thing. And after a while, Lord and Miller were like, you know what? You are Rocky. This is like when Lucas hired Anthony Daniels to play C-3PO. C-3PO was supposed to be like a used car salesman, like kind of a shiesty guy. And then Daniels came in and played him as this prim and proper, like, butler. And after a while, he's like, you know what? You are this character now. We're just going to have you come in and reloop the voices. So yeah, this guy is getting huge praise. And I scoured the internet this morning trying to find the name of the other 5 puppeteers. And they're just not out there. They're not giving these guys credit, which is crazy. But so he's a live action puppet. Obviously, there was some CGI, and there's a company called Frame Store. But the Neil Scanlon, who is well known in the Jim Henson's Creature Shop and Lucasfilm, basically created this thing. And it doesn't have a face, and yet it emotes. It communicates, it walks, it talks, it gets excited. It is a living, breathing thing.
Well, wasn't it Ryan Gosling that got a best stunt man category added to the Oscars?
Yes, yeah. Well, that was
let him do the same with the puppeteers.
Yeah, you need to. These guys, these unsung heroes. And again, even like CG, people, it's CG. Well, there's still somebody back there animating this thing, and you don't just press a button on a computer and make it show up. We're going to talk about Explorers because as limited as those graphics were for the time in 1985, they were pretty groundbreaking. So we also didn't talk about his gorgeous cardigan, which apparently is flying off the shelves.
Oh, they actually have it for sale?
It is. It's a real cardigan. It's got it was huge, right? This thing looks like I couldn't wear it because I'd probably sweat to death. But it had embroidered fox on it. It was pretty elaborate. Same thing with the T-shirts. You can buy every one of those T-shirts off the shelf. The
end of the movie, when you see him in the dome on Rocky's home planet.
Yes, yeah. So you don't realize at first because he wakes up and he comes and you're like, this is like a Planet of the Apes. He's on the beach. And you're like, what's going on right here? Did he make it home? No.
So again, they've created an entire like facsimile of Earth. Yet Rocky had nothing to offer during the during solving this problem.
And they waited until they got home before Rocky actually fashioned a little suit where he could walk, not just roll around in a hamster ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that Rocky was not meant to be part of that mission.
They knocked him out as well, and he woke up on that ship.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to talk about it.
We can send you home if you want. Can I think about it? And he lets him think about it. He's like, take all the time you need. And that's not what the government told him when he asked him the same question.
No.
Yeah. The reveal is that he's teaching their kids. And I'm like, what kind of parents are these that let their kids like, okay, I'm going to let my kids be in a classroom where they have to wear a bubble. And if there's any kind of opening, then they will burn. No,
I feel like this is just it's like a zoo. They're just, it's like orca jumping out of the water and hitting the ball. That's what he's doing. They don't understand what he's talking about. They're like, oh, look at him, the monkey dancing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
While he thinks he's, human splaining to the aliens.
Yeah. So they must have figured out a way to translate to these Rocky kids.
So here's the big question, and this is how I think the movie should have ended. The line of dialogue that it should have ended on.
Oh, okay.
Where, Rocky and Grace are on the beach in this under the biodome. And maybe it's Rocky or it could be Grace. It doesn't matter who says it to who. What about all the other stars that we didn't save?
They're all dead.
And then the other one says, fuck them. And then the last line is fist my bump. And that's
fist my bump. Screw them a-holes. We figured it out. They did.
They didn't send a ship. They didn't send a ship.
Only two civilizations. I mean, you would have to think that someone else tried to figure this out. After they left, maybe another ship showed up. Like they can't be the only two species that actually figured out that's the only sun that didn't. Just move to that sun. Yeah,
so they only saved their two suns. They didn't save any of the other suns.
Correct. That's a yeah. And yet it's still a feel-good movie. Yeah, for all we know, there is no stars left. We don't know. We wouldn't know. I think they said if our sun went extinct, we wouldn't know for 6 minutes.
But then we'd know.
Yeah, and they'd be like, shit, who turned the switch off? Yeah. So it seems pretty cut and dry, this ending. He's now got a purpose. He's back to teaching. Okay. At least he lived. But this movie is gangbusters right now. And of course, there's already talk of a sequel. Andy Weir has gone on record, said, yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to bring these two back. Doing what else? Unless they figure out, well, shit, those other sons. Yeah, we better go back out there.
Or it's just now. Like, again, it's like a Crocodile Dundee where Rocky is on Earth and, hilarity ensues.
Oh, geez, ensues. Hilarity ensues. I don't know. Leave it be.
As you said, gangbusters. The budget on this is about 250 million. And so far, it's done 443 million worldwide. I was reading something where if a budget is in excess of 250 million, it has to do at least 600 million in order to get its money back, and it's well on its way. It's not declining very rapidly weekend to weekend.
No, as a matter of fact, it's word of mouth. Where I mentioned this in this in theater app to watch an alternate experience, and my friend down the street, she goes, "I've already seen this movie, and I want to see it again with this experience." People who don't go to the movies first time I walked into a theater in 5 years. I'm going to see this movie. This is what we want. We gotta make it an experience. This is fantastic.
Yeah, and again, I saw a very early in the day screening at 10:45. So my theater was probably a quarter full, if that. Good for me. And the theater was packed when I got out. So I can only think that.
Yeah. Well, you also have people going to Super Mario Galaxy. I actually dragged my wife. My wife has probably not seen a movie since the last Ghostbusters, because I was going to go see the other movie we covered the week before, Ready or Not 2. And I just, as an afterthought, I'm like, you want to come with me? And she always says no. She doesn't want to go. And she's like, what are you seeing? I was like, well, Ready or Not 2. I said, but you never saw the first one, so I don't know if you'd be even. And then I said, well, if you come, we will go see Project Hail Mary, because if I'm going to drag you to the theater, I did not tell her it was a 3-hour movie. She did fall asleep. So, and the whole time, so the opening is very dry science. And I'm just looking over like, she's going to kill me right now. She hates this because it takes you a good hour before you even meet Rocky into this movie.
Which is why they could have gotten away, I think, with that first trailer.
Yes, just tease me. Something else is out there.
Yeah. It is a very feel-good E.T.-esque story as well.
Yeah, it's a fun buddy comedy that's disguised as an epic sci-fi romp. And like I said, 250 million, every penny is on that screen.
I wish I saw it in IMAX. I really wish. I know,
that's why I said, like those scenes where he's out walking outside. And the other thing here too is they tout the fact that there's no green screen, and people are like, so that's like real space. Well, no, that just means that everything was as practical as humanly possible. You know, the ships, they weren't acting against, you know, a blank background. They built the sets.
So, yeah, when they're inside the ships, it's all practical.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen it in IMAX. And like I said, the soundtrack, everything was, it's a fun movie. Now, people are raving that this is the greatest movie they've seen since the beginning of time. And I don't think it's all that. I will tell you, it is not my favorite movie from this year. I'm going to say I enjoyed and had more fun with The Bride. And that's probably a hot take. No, don't get me wrong. This is a fun movie. This is entertaining as all hell. But I think because we sat on it and the hype kept building. Now, this is a movie I've wanted to see since it came out, since they announced it. And I'm like, oh, that looks like my kind of movie. So maybe my expectations were through the roof, that people are raving that this is the greatest thing ever. This is what cinemas were made for. And I'm like, it was fun. It was entertaining. I'm going to say The Martian is a better movie.
So would your opinion be a bit different if you didn't know, if you went into this blank? Like, say, if you were a preview audience? I don't know. Would I be tickled pink that I discovered that he was friends with an alien? I don't know. I don't know how it would have skewed me one way or the other. I mean, listen, I'm still giving it 4.25. I'll give it a solid 4. I'll give it 4 buckets out of 5. Now, yeah, I can see myself watching this again. I definitely could. I agree with that. And I'll be disappointed to watch it on my little 50-inch television, because it is meant to be seen on the big screen. Like I said, every penny of that is up there. It is a sight to behold. What did you bring this week? I just got done talking. Now I got to talk some more. So that's what we do. I know. So my concession tree is based less on our feature films and more on a brief glimpse caught on the live feed of the Artemis. If anybody was watching C-SPAN, this was like a big buzz that came across all these space nerds. Do you know what I'm talking about? No, I don't. There was a live feed from the Artemis. And at one point, as the astronauts are floating around, a product floats front and center right in front of the camera. And it's like that's like the best advertising ever. And I'm like, no, it's not Tang. And now that I'm thinking about it, how did astronauts eat Tang in space? You couldn't just spoon it and put it in water. No, because it would be like the particles would like, yeah. So anyways, I'm talking about Nutella. Oh. So look it up when we get off here. There's a video clip of the astronauts, and this jar of Nutella just floats in front of the camera, and front logo directly in front as it floats by. And you're like, if that's not perfect advertising for Nutella, I don't know what is. Astronauts eat it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, that's not even, they could open that jar. That's not coming out of that jar. No. It's about as close to Vegemite as you're going to get. So have you eaten Nutella? Yeah. So yeah, I've had it spread on toast and straight up. Yeah. I've had it. So if anybody doesn't know, so it's basically chocolate nut spread cream. And it's like a staple of breakfast. You put it on your crepes, your bread, desserts.
Obviously, it's in space. You can eat it by the spoonful. Maybe they have that with the little Nutella to go, with the little sticks. And that's what they were eating. I don't know. But the astronauts were eating it. So
I would imagine you would need to use the space bathroom after you've eaten quite a bit of Nutella, and there's not a lot of privacy up there, so...
You know that the toilet broke as soon as they went into space.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they had to have it fixed. And then I guess one of the guys fixed it or whatever. I don't know how they fixed it. And it's like, all right, you can pee in space now. Don't they wear diapers?
I thought that they would. I mean, like
Have
when
we
they
evolved past that?
sit down on the toilet, does like the bottom of it open into space, so it just
You have like a butt flap on your...
and it's the seal of your butt that keeps the oxygen in the...
space. That's not Nutella. So there seems to be some controversy about the creation of this Nutella, but basically what I discovered is in 1946, Nutella was created by an Italian pastry chef named Pietro Ferrero.
For any relation?
Apparently not.
Oh.
I didn't see any connection between the Ferrero, which is wild, but in Piedmont, Italy. And basically, this was a solution to the cocoa rationing during World War II. So cocoa was scarce and expensive, and so Ferrero mixed available cocoa with abundant local hazelnuts to create what he referred to as gianduja. And I had to look up the pronunciation because this is in Italy, and I didn't want to massacre it. But the first version of this gianduja was a solid block that had to be cut with a knife. But this name comes from a local carnival character. So this is a wild backstory, and it's very convoluted. It goes all the way back to the 1800s. But the history of this character is pretty much entrenched in Italian politics. And basically, this gianduja was a wine-guzzling, tricorn, hat-wearing, womanizing peasant popularized in the 1800s. I'm like, what the... So over the course of the 19th century, gianduja evolved from a traditional masked character in the Italian commedia dell'arte, I don't even know it, to a puppet and then a pervasive political cartoon. His form was paraded across newspapers as a symbol of Turin, a jovial peasant mascot of sorts who represented the Piedmontese insurrectionists who fought against Austrian rulers. So this is like really entrenched in like a lot of this, you know, Italy was trying to secede and form their own country. And in 1865, at a Turin carnival, just 4 years after Italy's official unification, gianduja first became associated with a chocolate hazelnut confection. So this is long before the 1946, but that's why he named this. And they were candies that, said to resemble gianduja's tricorn hat, were distributed at the carnival festivals, possibly by someone actually dressed as the character. So this goes all the way back to like Napoleon. But this guy, Pietro Ferrero, for lack of a better term, seems to be given credit as creating it in 1940s. So in 51, they actually finally got around, they modified and made it a spreadable cream version known as Super Crema. So it became more accessible and easier to consume. And the direct quote is, "A small amount went a very long way, helping to break down the perception that chocolate was only for very special occasions and celebrations like Christmas and Easter. The availability and affordability of La Super Crema turned the chocolate hazelnut spread into a household staple throughout Italy." And then in 61, Ferrero's son, Michel, once again, he adjusted the recipe, adding palm oil and scaling it up for mass production. And once that happened, boom, they were off to the races. Quickly, first jar, 1964, was produced and rebranded as Nutella, as we know it today.
64 then is the birth of that name.
Was combining the word nut and the "ella" suffix. From there, expanded into several countries. Germany was 65, France was 66, Australia was not until 78. U.S. did not see Nutella until 1983.
Really? So
Yeah.
it was a foreign delicacy before
It still
1983.
is. It is still made in Italy. I guess there are some production plants in Europe. The main ingredients of Nutella are sugar and palm oil, which is greater than 50%, but it also contains 13% hazelnuts, cocoa solids, and skimmed milk. And Nutella in the United States and the United Kingdom is marketed as a hazelnut cream. Under Italian law, it cannot be labeled as a chocolate cream as it does not meet minimum cocoa solids concentration criteria.
Well, that holds true to its beginnings, correct?
Yeah.
Where it was just like the little leavings of cocoa powder.
Yeah, just enough to give you that cocoa flavor.
Yeah.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, by the way. Each jar uses approximately 50 hazelnuts, and Ferrero, as a company, uses 25% of the global supply of hazelnuts.
Wow.
Yeah, though not all of this is used exclusively in Nutella, but yeah.
They have other products that are heavy in hazelnut.
So now I backtrack. Maybe he is part of the Ferrero chocolate company, because they do credit Ferrero. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. In 2012, a proposed tax hike on palm oil in France was nicknamed the Nutella tax by the media because they used palm oil, and I guess that was going to raise the rates of making this thing.
Well, I don't think palm oil is the best thing for,
No, you would like to think
ingest.
that. No, but so that's funny you mentioned that, because that very same year, Ferrero settled a class action lawsuit in the U.S. that alleged their advertisements misrepresented Nutella's healthiness, and were forced to pay out $3 million and removed advertising featuring the health claims. So it's like snake oil. It's good for you.
It's good, yeah.
More Nutella.
Yeah.
So in Italy, it is an everyday staple. Kids eat this, put this on the slice of bread, known as a falone, between two slices of sandwich bread, and this is like their typical lunch.
Yeah, they wax their cars with it.
Yeah. Wow. It does a lot of wonders. It actually, you can retile your roof with the car.
Yeah, it dries into grout.
Yeah, ooh, grout. That's yummy grout right there. So, same year, Nutella and Go and Nutella biscuits were introduced. In 2017, the first official Nutella cafe opened in Chicago.
Nutella cafe.
Yes.
It's got to have coffee involved. Nutella and coffee.
Well,
I don't think
they're probably synonymous with each other.
Yeah.
And especially later, I think in 2020 and 2023, they introduced a Nutella muffin and a croissant. So sure, cup of coffee with those. In 2024, it was the 60th anniversary, and at that time, a whopping 365,000 tons of the stuff were sold across 160 countries, and nearly 1/4 of all hazelnuts harvested are devoted to its production. So that's a lot of hazelnuts.
That's a lot of hazelnuts.
Yep. And final fun fact, February 7th is officially known as World Nutella Day.
February 7th, so we've just passed
7th.
it.
Yeah.
Are you a big Nutella eater yourself?
I cannot tell you the last time I've had Nutella. After listening or reading it, I'm like, well, maybe I'll try that. So.
Yeah, I've had it in my time, but I don't eat it anymore. I try to stay away from the palm oils and the various hydrogenated oils and all that stuff. I always look for those triggers in the ingredients whenever I get something now.
Yeah, well, I just had my blood numbers come back from my doctors, and I'm like, maybe I should be cutting back on some of this stuff as well. So it's unfortunate we're at that point where you can't enjoy this food.
Yeah, can't have nice things anymore.
No, you cannot have nice things. You can, but it will keep you up all night. Not in a good way. Yeah. So there you go, Nutella.
Nutella.
Yes.
Yeah, that was out of left field. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, all right. And we haven't covered it, so I'm like, all right, we're going that way. And I think because they have those little the Nutella and Go with the little sticks, they may actually be available in the concession stand. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you're
Listen,
right
you can get
about
nachos.
that.
You get nachos and pizza and hot dogs.
Yeah.
I don't need someone sitting next to me in the theater eating a hot dog.
Somebody
Because eventually you're
chomping
going
on
to have
a
hot dog bad breath that's going to repeat on you. I don't need it.
Then you'll hear the inner burps of the person next to you.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I get a wide berth around me.
All right,
let's
back
go.
to space.
Explorers.
Back to space.
Yes, we are going back into space.
Explorers. The basic story was kicking around throughout the early 80s. I read somewhere where like the basic story was pre-ET, as a matter of fact.
Really, I will tell you, 10 minutes into this movie, I'm like, this is every 80s movie ever made. There's Flight of the Navigator, it's got feelings of Galaxy Quest. It's crazy. And especially when these kids are running around with walkie-talkies, and I'm like, how far can you really talk on a walkie-talkie to each other?
I know. I was a bit confused as to where their houses were in comparison to the others.
Because every time you turned around, this kid Darren is like skulking around outside your house. I'm like, I get it. You have a crappy home life, but can you not sneak up on me?
But so we're introduced to early on the lead of this movie, played by Ethan Hawke, and he is Ben. So he is kind of like and you can tell when the writer or the director, whoever was a sci-fi nerd, he's projecting that onto his character in the movie.
There are so many pop culture references to the moment, a lot of the old school sci-fi. I mean, he's literally, we see him, he's sleeping to War of the Worlds. I'm like, you're sleeping through the best part. I
know. And so Ben, as an 80s kid, is so steeped in 50s and 60s sci-fi movies.
Sure. Yeah. You see it on his walls. He's got the movie poster. I think I actually saw Tobor on his dresser.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just robot backwards.
Yep.
But that was a toy. I remember advertising. Did you catch the beginning when the movie first started and they give you the little, because I think it's just PG, but then they tell you for mild language and action and a brief scene using beer.
Yes, I did see that. Yep.
We have to flag that. Those kids were underage.
They were, but it opens with Ben having a dream. Like, he falls asleep, as you said, to the best part of War of the Worlds, but he's flying Peter Pan style.
Yeah, we get such a Peter Pan reference at the end.
Over what could only be described as a Tron-esque digital landscape.
Yeah, it's like a circuit board looking thing.
And he wakes up, in the middle of the dream, and he immediately goes over to his drawing pad and starts drawing what he saw in the dream.
Have you ever done that?
No, I can't say that I have.
I used to try and jot down things that I dreamed of, and then I'd wake up in the morning and all 20 lines are on the same line because I wrote it in the dark.
Yeah, but I'm
assuming that's what your notes look like in a movie theater.
No, because when I'm taking notes in a dark movie theater, I hold my thumb to where I'm writing on the line and then move my thumb down.
Oh, you're a trained professional.
Then. I am a trained professional. Wow. But I can't tell you the amount of times where I would have woken up from a dream. Oh, I must remember that, and then I don't.
It goes away.
Yep.
No, so he's smart in that regard. So clearly this is not the first dream he's had of this.
No, these thoughts and dreams have been implanted in him.
Yeah, there's some questions I got about this.
Yeah.
There's some questions.
But the very next scene, he's getting punched at school because you get a little taste of what life is like for this kid, unfortunately.
Oh, and it's the 80s because all the bad guys were wearing members-only jackets.
Yeah.
Did you catch at the high school? It was called Charles Jones.
I did. I read that. Chuck Jones. That was a Chuck Jones reference. I read that later. I didn't see it in the movie itself.
Yeah, but every 80s movie, these nerds who like space get beat up. It's like, come on.
Yep, and generally there's always like a borderline cool kid nerd that befriends the nerd, and we have that here in Darren.
Darren,
played by Jason Presson.
Yeah, who we mentioned. I don't think he's ever done anything since then.
No, if you look him up on Wikipedia, he's like best known for Explorers. That's what it says.
It's too bad because I think he is the best actor in this movie.
Yeah,
I think he's got more to do because the dialogue that poor River Phoenix has to spout out is so stilted and so dry because of his character. Like, he's the exposition. He's the one who has to explain the technology to these other two knuckleheads.
Apparently, River Phoenix was originally meant to play the Darren character, but they got switched around because the director thought Jason did it a lot better.
And River Phoenix is known as Wolfgang. That's his character's name. And when you're introduced to his family, you realize pretty quickly that all of them were named after, like, there was some this movie is out of control because I don't remember any of this.
It's because there's not much to it, unfortunately.
No, it takes a long time for the buildup. And again, there's so many pop culture references. There's so many lines of dialogue that are taken from movies. This is probably something I would have written, at 16.
There is a solid commonality between our two movies. There's a scene where Wolfgang has set up like a keyboard in a mouse cage,
yes,
so he can talk to the mouse using various words. Same way that
in the
Rocky.
mouse's name was Heinlein, after Robert Heinlein, and I would have loved to have taken Heinlein along with this journey, so they could have communicated. He would have communicated with the aliens later. It's established that Wolfgang's family is just these eccentric, and his dad is James Cromwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good pig. That'll do, pig.
That'll do, Wolfgang.
But the family, like, there's a kid sitting in the sink. There's another kid that's wearing like this Halloween mask.
I know. It's like they've got like 10 kids in that family.
And it's chaos. And Wolfgang has like a secret lab in the basement that he's doing. He's got this state-of-the-art computer.
I got the impression
this is like a $35,000 computer.
I got the impression that Wolfgang and the rest of these kids are homeschooled, which would have made perfect sense. But then you see Wolfgang in school later.
Darren's got a pretty crappy home life. Dad can't hold a job. He's got a stepmom, girlfriend, or whatever. Dad. No, okay. So it's a lot. There's a lot of kids running around on bikes and talking on walkie-talkies.
Now, I never saw this in the theater. I did see Goonies in the theater, but seeing a preview for this, it probably was like been there, done that. I don't need,
No, it's weird. They both came out. And do you remember? Because when we started talking about this, I remember, the fact that the aliens are speaking in pop culture references as well, because that's all they know. But there was an episode of Amazing Adventures or what was that show? Amazing Stories.
Amazing Stories.
That basically was the same thing as this. And I think it came out like 3 months after this movie dropped. And maybe that's what I was thinking of, because I think it's the same thing where a trio of kids end up meeting an alien who talked to them in pop culture references because they're watching TV signals.
It's revealed later on in the movie that the aliens have been feeding Ben his dreams in order to meet him, because they're trying to give him all this stuff in order for them to build a spaceship, which they do.
They do, out of a tilt-a-whirl.
First come up with some kind of a sphere that can...
So he uses... Right, so he takes whatever this thing was that he saw in his dream, takes it to Wolfgang, who then inputs into the computer, and it creates like this sphere. And it really drove me nuts that River Phoenix could not stop touching the lenses on his glasses. Apparently in between shots, he would immediately take the glasses off because he was trying to impress all the girls on set. But so they figure out a way to use this and make it big enough to put a human inside it. And the first thing they do is go full George McFly and spy on the girl. Bunch of creeps. She's got stuffed animals on her bed. It's like, easy there, big guy.
Yeah, so they find the tilt-a-whirl, which is in the junkyard. So they figure out, hey, we can space travel since this cube is airtight if we give ourselves oxygen masks. And there you go. But they do manage to get into space, but not before Dick Miller, who is like a helicopter cop. So
when I saw him, I'm like, holy shit, it's Dick Miller. But he's like a major character. And then he starts talking about having dreams as well. And then that never pays off.
But that is, again, like a direct reference to E.T. So there's a lot of commonalities between those two movies, because that had a character,
Elliot
the Peter
and
Coyote. He visited me.
Peter. Yeah, that is true. Oh, I didn't even think about that. But they destroy the drive-in. And I'm like, I'd be pissed at these kids. They took out the concession stand. And what was fun is the movie that was playing was Star Killer, which was Luke Skywalker's original name, by the way, until Lucas decided to change it the last minute. But the main actor who played the Star Killer character in that movie is the same guy, Robert Picardo, who plays Locke, the alien, at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I just want to also point out, Robert Picardo played Meg Mucklebones in Legend.
Yes. And that's exactly what this alien looks like.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Most people would know him from Star Trek Voyager as the doctor, the holographic doctor. But when they're in the drive-in, there's a kid sitting in his car trying to mansplain traveling mats to his girlfriend, like he's trying to impress her. He's like, oh, that's a traveling mat they use there to film that special effects. It's like, that's not how you get in a girl's pants. But that kid, John P. Navin Jr., you would know him more so as Cousin Eddie's son from National Lampoon's Vacation, where he asked Rusty if he ever bopped his baloney before he broke out the Playboys.
Now, I think that was supposed to be Ben's older brother in the uncut version of Explorers. There's we're talking about a 6-hour version of Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
There's a 3.5-hour version of Explorers out there.
So the director, Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins, and there's a Gremlin reference in here as well in the newspaper at one point. The studio moved up the release date. And so they had to kind of just abandon the editing. So that's why the Dick Miller character just kind of disappears. He doesn't play into it in any way, shape, or form at the end.
Yeah, he was supposed to come back apparently to just tie things together at the end, and he never does.
I'm saying. You're telling then just cut that scene altogether where he's talking to his buddy on the phone and tells him that he's starting to have these dreams he hasn't had since he was a kid. So did they try and communicate with him?
Dante didn't finish editing the movie, so there were scenes that he was never able to put into it that he wanted to, but the studio's just like, because this is 1985, right? Any sci-fi movie pretty much at that point has become a box office success. But the one thing that they weren't thinking of is that they really should be good before you put the movies out.
You think that's a criteria?
I think that's a criteria of this.
This looks like a made-for-TV movie.
It does.
Yeah. Although, we're going to, when we get to the aliens, they were created by Rod Bonton, who we've talked about in the past with The Howling, Total Recall, RoboCop.
The Thing.
The guy's got, The Thing. Yeah. This guy's got quite the resume.
But yeah, so the kids, they get in their tilt-a-whirl, they go into space, and they encounter the alien ship. And apparently this is just what the aliens had wanted all along, just to meet these kids. That's why they were implanting the dreams in Ben, to give him the schematics to build this
thing,
to get out there.
This is like Contact.
This is a neat idea, right? There is like a little bit of suspense on the ship before you actually see the aliens and all the kids get separated and they're all exploring the ship. And then finally the reveal of the aliens, where it looks like one of the members of Jabba the Hutt's band. That's what it really.
The Sice Noodles. Yeah.
And these are just kids themselves playing.
Yeah, that's a weird, right. So a huge montage that goes on way too long, where this guy the male alien, the girl alien is hitting on Wolfgang.
And their brother and sister, right? The two aliens.
Brother and sister, correct.
Yeah.
And they realize that they're just repeating, like his first line is, what's up? Hey, what's up, Doc? And he's just repeating lines of dialogue from TV shows.
And then he gets up like a stand-up comedian, just doing shtick in front of this big TV screen for about 10 minutes.
And so all of his references, so this is where it does make a little sense, I guess, because you think about the fact that radio and TV, over the air, like at that time in 1980, I mean, not everybody had cable, but there was probably 10, 12, 20 channels at the most. But because they take so long to go out into space, everything he's references is from like the 50s and 60s. Because although there was a screenshot of a bunch of chicks in bikinis at one point, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't on TV at the time. And
of course, one of the things that flashes is the Paramount logo.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, a little free advertising there.
Yeah.
But Ben is just horrified. And I'm like, this is the proper response. You finally have alien contact. And they're like, yeah, we just want you for shits and giggles. You're just a reality show for us. And he's like, that's not how we are. Well, that is how we are, because that's how we're portrayed. That's what we're sending out into the world. We know how you'd treat us if we went down there. So yeah, and then they show a montage of all the alien movies that he's obsessed with, where we just shoot Gort the minute he comes out of the ship. Yep. We take him down. Yeah, we don't like aliens. We're not going to be kind to you. Yeah. I did see, because this production was so rushed, when you first meet Wok, he's wearing like a fur jacket. Like when he peeks around the wall, he's wearing like this fur jacket. That's only because they didn't have his suit finished. So it was just hiding the rest of the actor.
I was thinking, who is this? Jonathan Winters in makeup? Because he's doing voices after he's...
That would have been fantastic. And he was probably, 85. He probably was already on Mork and Mindy as Mork and Mindy's son.
He's just doing impersonations up there.
Yeah. He's just spouting them back. And it goes on way too long. And like I said, the Ben character is just like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like, he's just so soul crushed. He's like, you're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to tell us the secrets of the universe.
Talking about the Thanos ship, another giant ship suddenly shows up.
Yeah. And these ships, these special effects ships look as cheesy as the ones on the drive-in movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing?
So the kids start to panic. They're like, it's space pirates. You have to get out of here.
Ben's immediately like, we'll fight space pirates. How? How are you fighting space pirates?
But no, it's not space pirates. It's the kid's father. All you have to say is it's my dad, and then the kids would have left.
No, This creature comes in, and he's like 3 times the size, and he's in shadow for the longest time, and he's just gibberish. And then they slowly realize this is their dad. They stole the car. And he's like, are you kidding me right now? This is so embarrassing. I got to go home. I did not want to sign up for this movie. I will say that River Phoenix he had a real early Harry Potter vibe going on with the glasses and the shirt and the tie with the vest. I'm like, he's like proto Harry Potter looking.
He did, and this is only a year removed from Stand By Me. The next year he did Stand By Me.
Yeah, well, he definitely his acting chops improved. I will say, I think the dialogue in this is very stilted. I don't again, we talk about this Darren character. I think is the best actor out of the 3.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I was halfway convinced that the hilltop that they land on is the same one from Stand By Me at the end.
Maybe. Listen, I know a good spot we could film this.
And now, before the kids leave, the aliens, they give them like a little doohickey. This is the stuff that dreams
weird.
Are made of.
He made it sound like it was some magical thing. So I'm guessing it was like a communication device, or it was just an easier way for them to plant memories in him.
I guess there's a scene where he's sitting in his classroom and all the kids disappear, and suddenly the tilt-a-whirl is right in the classroom.
Yeah, and then they're all flying together, so now they all having like a shared dream
with the girl now, who wasn't involved in any of this beforehand.
No, but she did see them crash. She saw it because the ship like sinks. They end up in the lake and it sinks. That was at some point. Wolfgang's dad's like, "Where's your computer? That's a $35,000 computer, bro. What happened to it?" It's at the bottom of the lake. Sorry, Dad. So the special effects when they were working on the computer and they had like the 3D graphics, like they actually had to create software to create that. But the only way they could do it was on the computer. So they had to adjust the frame rate on the computer. So like when you see a computer screen on TV, if the frame rate doesn't match up with the frame rate of your film, it flickers. So they actually had to adjust that, but that was like a special effect that did not exist before then. Oh. So it wasn't CG; it was something that they actually built a program around. He was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll give him that."
So I already said that I didn't see this in the theater. I may not have ever seen this before this viewing right here, just because I had no interest in it.
Yeah.
And audiences didn't either. This opened on July 12th. 1985. They say that it died at the box office because it opened on the same weekend as the Live Aid concert. So nobody was going to the movies, but
everybody stayed home for free entertainment.
That was only taking place on the Saturday. I don't think that they can totally blame Live Aid. I think some of the blame belongs pointed squarely at themselves here.
Well, the studio has it right. It's like, oh, we want you to create this movie. Oh, by the way, we're going to take 2 months away from you. We want this in theater. Oh, what do you talk? What?
Yeah. Don't worry. People will eat this up. Just give us what you got.
Yeah, you're right, though, because I mean, everyone was chasing that damn Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even 8-9 years later.
The budget on this was $25 million. It made just under $10 million at the box office. So it died a death.
It's a weird artifact. It's an odd one for sure. I don't know. I did see Wolfgang Peterson was supposed to direct this, which would have completely made it a different movie.
Maybe a better movie.
He went off to make Enemy Mine. He's like, yeah, I'm good.
Dante said that this was one of the few times where he was actually in demand in his career because he had just come off of Gremlins. But again, one of these studios thinking that they know better and just ripping it out of his hands.
Correct.
But then again, would I have wanted a 3.5-hour cut of Explorers? No. I
think there's an idea here. It just doesn't. There's no payoff. They had a wacky adventure. They went into space. Dick knows they went into space. Lori knows they went into space, but
just to meet other kids.
Right, correct. You scam me into coming up here.
And Dante actually admits that even in the original script, all they do when they go up, they actually go to the planet rather than to just the spaceship.
Okay.
But they play baseball, and that was the end of the script. Dante's like, there's got to be more to this. And he's like, well, we'll figure it out as we go along. And he never got the chance to.
That's the worst answer right there.
Yep.
I got an idea. Let's not call it baseball. Let's call it spaceball.
Yeah.
Genius. Get on it. So yeah, Earth is just a crappy reality show for the rest of the universe to laugh at, apparently.
So this did get Maslined in the New York Times.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's actually, I'm surprised. Janet Maslin wrote, of all the Spielberg-inspired fantasy films afoot at the moment, Explorers is by far the most eccentric. It's charmingly odd at some moments and just plain goofy at others.
Yeah, I think it's just plain goofy.
I think she's specifically talking about like the whole stand-up routine with the
it just goes on way too long. It goes on way too long. It's a weird payoff to have these kids actually design a spaceship. And listen, we break into that A-Team montage where they're building this thing, and it's like, all right, it's fun. It's made out of garbage. Did you catch that there was a Rosebud sled?
I didn't see it in the movie. No, I didn't see it.
For it.
Yeah.
So, and of course, there's a Star Wars reference where he puts on the gas mask and pretends that he's got a lightsaber in his hand.
Well, and there's also the one scene where the kid picks up the little monkey with the symbols.
That's
in,
right
Close
out of
Encounters.
Close Encounters. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's odd. It's a weird one. It really is. And I think last week we both pitted at 1986 and it's 85. And I never saw this in the theater. I probably saw it on VHS. But again, I'm beginning to think now that maybe I am misremembering this from that Amazing Stories episode, which is insane that it parallels this idea.
It says that it's a cult classic in the Wikipedia write-up. I can't see
that cult should probably go away. I mean, again, it gives us Ethan Hawke. It gives us River Phoenix for the first time.
Yeah, it does. But still, I'm not going to give this high marks. I'm not going to give it high marks.
I smell a 2 coming.
That's exactly what is coming. 2 buckets out of 5 from me.
I have to at least go 2.5. I did appreciate, again, if I was writing a script and, because this kid knows is these movies, he lives and breathes these movies. So, of course, at one point when they meet the aliens, he goes, I've always wanted to say this. We come in peace. And then you see it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
But listen, I wrote a comic once and I had an alien character that did nothing but repeat lines of dialogue from movies and he could morph into different characters. Yeah, it's basically what this is. Of course, I was 16. It was like, that's genius. That's a height right there. I think it could have been something more, especially from Dante.
Yeah,
I just think it sounds like it was ripped out of his hands. And
it is. It's pretty much Goonies in space. That's sort of just kind of what it is. Yeah,
it's a poor man's Goonies in space. You don't even get a Data. I mean, again,
well, you do. Wolfgang is kind of like Data.
I know, but he's annoying. He's not likable in any way, shape, or form. Darren just comes out of nowhere. He saves Ben from the fight, and then all of a sudden he's just hanging out with them. You give me the idea that he's got a crappy home life, and it's like at one point, like he's literally like hanging outside Wolfgang's house in the middle of the night. What are you doing?
a puppy that wants to come in.
Yeah, yeah. But he didn't really seem invested, like they're in space and no one really seemed, they were so nonplussed about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So bizarre. So what the hell else did we do?
What else did we do?
Can I just ask, before I get into what else I did, have you seen One Battle After Another yet?
I have, yes.
I can't get into it.
Really?
I've watched it like the first half hour, like almost twice, and I'm like, I'm not. Does it get better?
Have you gotten up to the boner yet?
No, I guess I haven't. That's Sean Penn's character scene,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh, is that what sets it over the edge?
No, it's not. But I'm like, I think I just thought to myself, I think that came about a half an hour in. I was just wondering if that's where you dropped it or not.
I stopped short of the boner action.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess if I want to see Sean Penn's erect appendage, I got to keep watching then.
Yeah, you do.
So, all right. I will.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Not a bad movie.
Okay.
I'm not talking about his the
erection.
Puff tent.
No, that's not what you're talking about.
No.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to stick with the space theme for this episode, and I have discovered a new podcast, and it's Star Trek adjacent. It is Dropping Names with Brent and Johnny. So the two hosts, Brent Spiner, better known as Commander Data, and Jonathan Frakes, Commander Riker. And they bring in guests, a lot of their celebrity guests, and they just talk behind the scenes and name drop. Was at this party and I met so-and-so, or I did this. I was working with this guy. It's actually a lot of fun. They have a very casual kind of relationship between each other. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. They just had Felicia Day was on there.
Yes.
And she was quite entertaining. It is, they go off on numerous tangents, and I guess maybe I like that. I tend to listen. I like to listen to people talk during my day, and I'm enjoying it immensely. So it's brand new. It's only been out for a little while. Yeah. So Dropping Names. Interesting.
Okay. There is a movie I watched on Netflix called Thrash, and this was just last night, as a matter of fact. It is about a out of control category 5 going into the unheard of category 6. So it's like Spinal Tap going up to 11. Hurricane hitting a Florida town. The levees break. The ocean comes in. And along with the ocean come bull sharks and one pregnant great white. So it is sharks let loose on this town and the people that have been stuck in town and not able to get out. So the water is rising.
Sharknado level, or is it a little
It's
more?
very much like, remember that movie Crawl? It's the same movie except with sharks instead of alligators.
Interesting.
And of course, in the middle of the movie, like when the hurricane hits, there's like a big meat truck that gets stuck in town, which implodes and all the meat comes out. So the chum is in the water and the sharks come in.
But they're not like meth sharks or anything. We're not talking like cocaine bear level.
No, we are not.
It's too bad. That would have been fun.
But they do some egregious damage to some of these characters.
Did they make their way to Disneyland?
No. They didn't get that far. Not quite that far. So I'd recommend Thrash. I'd recommend Thrash on Netflix.
And you said that's on Netflix?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
Sounds silly.
All right. What are we doing next time?
I think we're going to talk dinosaurs.
I think we are. All right. This movie's been getting so much buzz. It played very briefly.
We're like ambulance chasers now. We're not even ahead of the curve anymore. We wait until something becomes popular and they're like, all right, I guess we'll cover it.
Yeah. But I remember when this was playing in the theater for like a 2-week window.
It was like a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we talked about covering it.
Primitive War. So the whole gist of this is that this takes place in the Vietnam War, but there's dinosaurs in a secret valley in Vietnam. Are they meth
dinosaurs?
I would hope not.
We just need...
But I wonder if they're going to play The Doors' The End at any point during this.
Every one of these damn war movies. I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. So it's soldiers versus dinosaurs, pretty much, with
it's
Primitive War.
Buzz, though.
It is, yeah. It is.
And this is kind of like, I think the tagline is the park is officially closed or something.
And let's see.
You can't put dinosaurs in your movie without referencing Jurassic Park.
And let's see if we can get by Jeremy Piven here, because I know that was like not a selling point for me to have his name on there.
He's about the only name I recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he gets eaten really quick.
So what are we covering along with? Primitive War?
Do we decide? Are we doing Ringo Starr and
let's
Caveman?
do Ringo.
So this movie blew my little mind back in 1981. All by myself, my brother and I, tucked away in someone's bedroom upstairs on a Saturday night. It probably dropped on HBO. So it probably was like 82 when it dropped. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
A lot of body humor.
Caveman.
A lot of zug. Yeah. A lot of I'm gonna have to do some research on who did the animation of the dinosaurs, because they're fun, right? Like, they're goofy. There's one, I think there was a drug scene with the dinosaur.
And I'm pretty sure that Dennis Quaid is in this as one of the cavemen. I think you're right.
When I pulled the movie poster, actually, you want to know something really funny? I'll tell you right now. The movie poster tagline, which I don't remember this at all, back when you had to beat it before you could eat it. John Matuzak, Shelley Long, Barbara Bach, Dennis Quaid, and, as we mentioned, Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Avery Shriver's also in it.
I cannot wait to see that again, because it's been so long.
It has been a very long time, and I think it might just cleanse the palate coming off this super serious dinosaurs attacking some. We had mentioned possibly pairing it. Well, it makes sense to pair it with Kong Skull Island, but we've been sitting on that. We might be doing something special with that later in the year.
Yes,
if that whets your appetite. So there you go. Primitive War, Caveman. Next episode. If you have not seen Project Hail Mary, listen to your neighbors, because everyone's going to see it, and you should see it. Too bad it's not playing in IMAX anymore. And Explorers, I borrowed the DVD. No, it was a Blu-ray. Yeah, DVD from my library. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. It probably is.
It probably is, but
listen, if it's on Tubi and if you don't remember it, watch it just so you can say, yeah, that was crap.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I think there was something there, and it just didn't coalesce.
At most, it would be like a curiosity piece just to see a young Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix together.
Yep, it's unfortunate. Oh well. All right. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like what you just heard, be sure to follow TMI Confessionals of the Nerd Kind on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, or whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Also, be sure to email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads. Just go to tmiconfessionalspodcast.com. All of our links are there. And leave us a 5-star review. See you at the concession stand. Fist my bump.